Welcome to Rad, a daily reader for Reddit. Like and subscribe for daily Reddit videos. LPT, if you find yourself in the US, you can negotiate your bill. Never pay the full bill. I'm on a trip with 3 doctors right now and they're ranting about US procedures and prices. Apparently, rarely receive payment. This means that you can call the hospital when you receive the bill and negotiate it down to a much lower price. For instance, my GF negotiated her ex's bill from $10,000 to $4,000 by guaranteeing payment immediately. Other tips I've picked up from my GF's parents: never order Tylenol, Advil, anything a family member can bring you. If you're insured, do not sign the form that says you agree to pay what your insurance does not. The cannot turn you away. Update: let me be very clear. I'm not suggesting taking the medications without medical recommendation and clearance. I'm suggesting that you do not take the medication from the because the prices are inflated. Instead, have a family member bring you the medication. If you're insured, do not sign the form that says you agree to pay what your insurance does not. The cannot turn you away. If a provider is in-network, they cannot make you pay anything other than patient liability. So if the provider bills $1,000, and the insurance says $100 deductible, we pay $500. That means the hospital is contracted to receive $600 total. The other $400 they will try to make you pay. But since they have a contract with the insurance company to only receive $600, they are not allowed to come back at you. If they do, contact your insurance company's fraud department. Source: near 2 decades of experience working operations in health insurance. Edit. Leaving this here, but will not be updating or replying. Additionally, we were all called into it. Remember our social media policy meeting? No one was singled out, but the timing seemed too convenient. Hopefully I won't be posting in our TIFU over TIHS. Any non-US Americans here who understand a word of this? Example: insurance companies negotiate billable rates with providers for every procedure imaginable and agree to these rates by contract. So if you go into the urologist's office for a vasectomy without insurance, the urologist might say, "We charge $1,000 for vasectomies." But if you have, say, Blue Cross insurance, their negotiated rate for vasectomies is $600. So what happens in that case is, you get a vasectomy, and the urologist sends Blue Cross a bill for $1,000. Blue Cross sends them a little reminder that the negotiated rate is only $600, along with a check for $600. Urologist may try to send you a bill for the remaining $400. But you don't have to pay it because they're under contractual obligations to give vasectomies to Blue Cross members for $600. Now if that's not confusing enough, let's say you have a $2,000 deductible on your policy you haven't met. That means that you pay 100% out of pocket all medical expenses up to $2,000 in a calendar year, before Blue Cross pays for anything. In this case, urologist sends Blue Cross a bill for $1,000. Blue Cross sends them a note reminding them the negotiated rate is $600, but also lets them know they won't be paying anything because your deductible hasn't been met. Now urologist may try to send you a bill for the full $1,000. But because you're a Blue Cross member, you're only liable for the negotiated $600. US is a mess. Edit. Balance billing. To add some clarity to the post here, I'm not suggesting it's common practice for providers to try to pressure you into paying the $400 difference between what they charge, $1,000, and the negotiated rate, $600. However, what I have seen happen quite often: doc sends Blue Cross bill for $1,000, doc doesn't hear back from Blue Cross soon enough, so they send you a bill for $1,000. Blue Cross sends doc a check for $600. Some stupid software can't talk to another stupid software, and the $600 gets applied to the $1,000 invoice they sent you. New invoice for $400 gets automatically generated and sent to you. So, T's not necessarily malicious, just a big mess of flawed systems and third-party billing services. And the above is all in the mistake category. There shouldn't exist a scenario where it's acceptable for a doctor to balance bill you. Negotiated rates and EOB's negotiated rates aren't like a huge secret. After you see your provider bills your insurance company. The insurance company reviews the charges and sends you an explanation of benefits. EOB. In the EOB, you'll see what the provider billed, the negotiated rate, and the part you'll be responsible for paying. Review the EOBs carefully. and hang on to them. When you get bills from your provider, reconcile them with the EOB to ensure you're being billed correctly. If you've undergone a major ordeal with lots of different doctors, facilities, etc., don't get in a hurry to pay the bills. Let everything trickle in so you can make sure everything aligns before you write a check. The reason you can't find these things out ahead of time is because they usually don't know what a given procedure may entail. Sure, they have a huge list of granular, line item costs, and can quote you a price on any of those single things. But any given procedure could easily incur 40 different line items, and those can differ case to case. Plus, a large part of medicine is diagnosis and not straightforward. If you take your car to a mechanic and say, "I want you to replace all my brake pads," they can tell you what that will cost. If you say, "My brakes are noisy and sticking," they won't be able to give you an upfront cost, because they won't know what they need to fix until they remove the wheel and calipers and take a look. Deductibles, co-insurance, out-of-pocket maximums and such. I use the vasectomy example because it's typically simple and straightforward, one of those procedures that is typically a single line item. At least mine was. I also used a very simplified deductible scenario, either met or unmet. An insurance pays 100% after you meet the deductible. This is rarely the case, and most deductible paradigms are much more complicated. Most modern health insurance plans have some big things to pay attention to. Primary deductible. This is the dollar amount that you have to pay to providers before your insurance company pays anything. This can be anywhere from $500 minus $10,000. Copays. Preset fees you pay for specific, usually routine, services like office visits or specialist visits. These copays usually don't count towards your deductible. So when you see your regular doctor when you have the flu, you pay the copay, $10 minus $30, typically, at the time of the visit. Co-insurance. Once your deductible has been met, it's rare that your insurance will just take over and pay for everything at that point. Usually, the insurance company will now pay a certain percentage for certain procedures, typically around 80%. So if you've paid your deductible and have a procedure, you'll still have to pay 20% of the negotiated rate. Bill. Visits. Coverage varies wildly. Some insurance policies have them at a fixed dollar amount, so you pay $200. For example, if you visit the most anymore are a copay plus co-insurance, so you pay $200 plus 20% of the negotiated rate. Bill. Out-of-pocket maximums. This is when things get a bit more serious. Out-of-pocket maximum is the total dollar amount, excluding copays, you'll have to pay in a calendar year. So the way this works is, say you have a $2,000 deductible, 20% co-insurance and a $5,000 out-of-pocket maximum, and you're having a baby. The total negotiated rates cost of the baby is $12,000. In theory, you'll pay the first $2,000 of that bill to cover your deductible plus 20% of the remaining $10,000. $2,000, for a total of $4,000. You'll pay that total $4,000 because it's under your $5,000 out-of-pocket maximum. Now let's say the delivery was complicated, and the total bill is $30,000. In this case, you'll pay the first $2,000 to cover your deductible, but 20% of the remaining $28,000 is $5,600. You'll only have to pay $3,000 of that $5,600 because your out-of-pocket maximum will have been met. Now, those are still very watered-down examples to try to explain a very complex and convoluted process. There are other things that can happen that can throw a wrench in those, like individual versus family deductibles and dupe maximums, etc. Prescription drugs, medical supplies, dental, vision, etc. These are almost always completely separate plans, or at the very least, treated as separate. Prescriptions may have their own tiered copay systems, sometimes even their own deductibles and dupe maximums, sometimes even different medical procedures are covered at different co-insurance rates. Edit number 2. Thanks for the awards and all. If a provider is stonewalling you on any negotiation and continues to hassle you for payment, send them a letter asking for a full itemized bill, explanation of costs, and the same list of items with negotiated Medicare prices. If they bother to do this at all, it will at least give you a good baseline for negotiation. There's a decent framework for such a letter around page 93 in this book. How can we find out what the negotiated price is for our insurance? Is it, say, easy to find online with a few free minutes? Nope. The insurance provider and the clinic consider it a trade secret. And neither will tell you. Hooray for America. As a Canadian looking in. So if I got a bill in the mail for $1,000, as it would happen if my deductible WASNT met, there would be no way for me to know that the bill should be $600. I don't get it. How can I prevent being overcharged when I have no idea what the charges should be? The $600 that you owe will be stated on the EOB. Explanation of benefits. A form that your insurance company sends you every time they receive a bill for you. Many people throw away the EOBs or don't understand what they are. This LPT is both incredibly helpful to a lot of people and a really good snapshot of what frick is wrong with our system in the United States, all at the same time. I'm European and I read this thread with my mouth wide open. What the actual frick? Saw this advice somewhere on Reddit a while ago, I forget where. The op said they had good luck reducing medical bills or debt collections by as much as 40 to 50% by asking, how much would you accept to make this go away if I paid in full with cash today? If the collector didn't reduce by much, op followed it up with, oh, I don't have that much available, but I do have this much. If they still couldn't reduce it, then op said they'd call back when they had the money, and sometimes op would either call them back immediately or after a few weeks, months in order to try again with somebody new. Man, this sounds like someone trying to pay off the mafia from bashing their shins in. Except you already have your shins bashed in. Can confirm, was hit by a car and my bills started at around $592,000. About 20 phone calls later and I am down under $200,000. No stopping until I am under $25,000. Edit for the questions. I was hit by a car by a lady on her phone. She was 100% at fault and was even ticketed on the scene. My spine was crushed and they rebuilt me a new fancy one. Thankfully the cord was not severed. I was kicked out 7 days after the accident because their hospital was being turned into an overflow COVID wing. The other driver had insurance, but it was the state minimum of $30K. Welcome to the USA where you can only get the max of their insurance, so sue them personally. If you sue them personally you can only get anything that is left after taking away their house, car, and a year's salary. That leaves nothing in this case. I at most will get what is left over from the $30K. $30,000 my insurance cut. Mandatory $10,000. My lawyer cut. 1/3 of settlement mandatory. And court filing fees. Hoping to be less than $1,000. Which leaves about $9,000 on a good day. And for all you future lawyers out there who think I'm wrong, there is no umbrella policy. There is no underinsured payments. There is no additional hidden assets, etc. My hospital bill started at just short of $595,000. But that is just the ones I know about. Last month I received a random bill for $192,000 I did not expect. These things just happen. At this point, I expect to pay between $10,000 and $70,000 to cover the cost of my medical expenses. Meanwhile, I learned to walk again and will find a sense of being. Welcome to America, frick. Also, if you're with BCBS, the facility may be in network. The specialists are in network and very likely the physician isn't. Arizona, BCBS will negotiate on your behalf with the out-of-network physician to accept in-network payment. Because of this. Thanks for watching Rad. Like and subscribe for daily Reddit videos. If you like these videos, check out Rad too.